Welcome to Shine Your Light, where we humanize the conversation and speak on topics that can expand our minds while sharing our own truth. Hi, everyone. So I am so excited today because I've got two of my favorite people here. I've got Payal Khanwani and Angelique, two of my program partners that keep on teaching me more and more about what yoga is, what meditation is, and how we can actually apply it in our lives. You know, this is a topic that so many people, have taken on. You hear every day now, more and more people are doing yoga, more and more people are trying meditation. You've got all kinds of people tapping in to the space within. And with that comes so many questions, right, guys? There's questions like, what's the right way to do something? What's the right way to breathe? Is it deep gut breath? Is it different types of breath? And knowing the two of you, having worked with the two of you, I learned that there's so many different ways of doing it. And sometimes there's a right way, and sometimes there's your own way. And there's different times to apply it. And I know, Payal, you have shared that with me so many times. Like, Raj, there's different traditions of the way yoga is done. There's different ways of meditating. And I've also seen Angelique do the same. So before we talk about this topic, it's such a juicy topic, let's introduce you guys. And if I can pass the baton on to you to introduce who you are, and then we'll have this conversation. So Angelique, would you like to start?
Yes, with pleasure. Hi, everyone. Nice. It's an honor for me to be here with you and sharing a few information and insight about yoga and meditation. So yes, I'm Angelique. I teach yoga for the past 7-8 years, and it's a passion of mine. So is pranic healing, so on an energy world and level. I also love teaching children. This is another thing. I'm from Belgium. I speak French, you may be able to say. And yes, I live in Dubai for the past 21 years, so this is home.
This is really home. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Paya?
Okay, so I am a meditation and yoga teacher. I'm also a human potential coach, everything from life and well-being coaching. I started my yoga journey, I think 15 years back. I'm a practitioner for 15 years and a teacher for almost 10 years in 2021. I've lived, born and raised in Dubai, of Indian origin, moved around, lived in Germany, Switzerland, Dubai, and now in Canada. And I'm really excited to be here.
It's so fun to have these conversations, especially when we are from all over the world. And now, we've all been in Dubai. Myself and Angelique, we are here still. And I know, Payal, you've just relocated recently, right? And it's so fun when we get on Zoom and we have this conversation and you start realizing the world's such a small place, right? So many of us have lived in different places. We've experienced so many different things. And yet today we are talking about a topic that is so universal, right? We all take a breath, girls. Isn't it true? We all take a breath. And yet there's a way we can take a breath that can do wonders for us. Isn't it true? So I'm going to throw the question out to y'all, either one of you. There is the power of the breath. Let's take that. Let's start with the broad topic. The power of the breath. Tell me about the breath. How can the breath work in our favor? How can we take this amazing tool given to us by, Source, and we have it? And how can we take advantage of this beautiful tool that we've been given to improve our well-being?
Want to go first, Angelique? Or do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
To me, I feel like breath is very powerful because it is the connect between your body and mind. Mm-hmm. Right? It literally connects your body and mind. So if you can use your breath effectively, you can change the state of your body, you can change the state of your mind, or vice versa. Okay? So often when we are stressed, you just take a moment to observe how your breath is, and it's going to be shallow, or maybe one nostril is blocked or something else, right? It tells you a lot about your current state. So you can almost use it as a tool to change your state of mind and state of your body and heal yourself, of course.
And Payal, I want to talk about that. You brought something up really cool, and I want to share something. You know, in one of my retreats, Rasha was working with us on breathing, and you know, it was amazing. You know, your everyday breathing, whether you call that shallow breathing, I don't know if you call it shallow breathing, but then when you consciously breathe, right? And I know there's different techniques, but you spoke about the one nostril, you know, whether your one nostril is blocked, but it's funny, there's certain things, even in yoga, that she made us do. When you block one and you breathe specifically from one in, and it's unbelievable the energy that goes through you when consciously you start to breathe, right? It's unreal.
Because it your breath is connected to your brain, right? So it's sort of the fact that you can breathe from both nostrils is helping you balance your sympathetic and your parasympathetic system. Okay. And that's rest and digest. When you need to rest, we need the calm in our life, and that's also the managing the stress response when we need to act, right? But it really balances both sides of your brain, and hence, if you're overstressed, you're going to calm down. If you're too calm and lazy, you are going to get energized.
I like that. Angelique, do you want to add to? And this is a really funny part. I learned the hard way, by the way. So we were doing some asanas, and they were telling us, okay, to do it right, you have to breathe, and your focus has to be on the breath work. And you know, I go to the gym, I lift weights, I do all this sports, and I think I got this. And I realized I didn't have it, right? I wasn't able to stretch, I wasn't able to hold, I wasn't able to balance, right? And I'm sure, like me, there's many people who haven't done yoga very often. So I felt kind of clumsy, right? So I'm trying to manage the pose and my hands, and I'm almost falling. And the answer was, focus on your breath. Focus on your breath. So tell me about that. When you're doing yoga, the breath plays a big role, huh? Even on holding the pose.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, breath is it's empowering. Two things: it's empowering, and at the same time, it brings so much awareness when you focus on the breath. And this is what allows you to go within, and instead of focusing on what's going on outside, you connect deeply with your physical body. And this is where you get to understand what you're at, and stop as well all the different thoughts and go back to the essential. Breathing being the essential. Of course, there's a logic into it, like certain movement where you expand, you would inhale, and when you contract your body, you exhale. So you get to understand much better how your body works. And that's yoga, meaning union, when you are united with your mind and your physical body and your emotion, therefore afterwards, gives you so much power rather than being all over the place. So it's very powerful that way. It reunites everything and gives you awareness. Yes.
I like that. And it's so true. Of course, I do meditate and I do work on my breath during meditation, but I'll stick to the topic of yoga for a second, because this is one thing I did notice though. You know, when I was forcing, and again, Payal, you'll see, I'm sure you'll know to this, when I was forcing a pose, like she was like, no, go deeper, go lower. When I wasn't focusing on my breath, it was really hard. But you're right. The minute I brought the awareness to the breath and tried not to force it, I somehow managed to go a little deeper, you know, like I was able to stretch it out more. So that phenomena I noticed, it was like almost letting go to do it.
Yeah,
there is
exactly. There's the word letting go.
Yeah, there is a phrase, right? It's a Sanskrit phrase which literally translates to finding ease in the posture. And you know, when you're fighting with your body, it's going to get harder. And if you're forcing, then you're not breathing. So when you use the breath, you are able to find that ease and you're able to surrender, and then it's easier to go deeper, right? So it's about finding ease in the posture. It's not about, like, yes, you need to add effort, but you don't have to fight with your body.
Okay, I hear you. So what you're
do that.
Go ahead.
the breath helps you do that.
So as a beginner, okay, as a beginner, say, because it's your mind, right? In yoga, when they tell you to do the particular posture, right, and you try to get your body into that, the first thing you'd want to do is try to get into that posture, right? And then, so it's natural for us to use what we kind of used to doing, which is our conscious, not consciously, but unconsciously, what we used to doing is putting our muscles in that position, physically getting into that space. But what I love is what you both are saying is what we usually wouldn't initially think is the most important thing, is consciously breathing. Because what you're saying is the more you consciously breathe, you're easing into that position and you're not forcing it. We all are used to forcing things, like, oh, let's just hurry up and do it. And it almost sounds like it's actually more productive not to do that, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to ask you another question. So there's a lot of conversation and you read a lot of articles on how amazing yoga is for us, right? So initially we would think it's good for the body, losing weight and doing all these amazing physical side of things. But there's also actually a lot of benefits for our health from doing yoga, right? So could you tell us a little about some of the benefits that you guys have experienced through your classes when you're working with other people, some positions that you see that work for the body? Anything you can talk about?
To me, it will work. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so Angelique first, and then we go to Payal.
Two ladies, so polite. So yes. So yes, of course. Oh my God, this subject is so vast. So many benefits about yoga, and what I've seen in classes as well. It's how everything is linked, and in terms of the health of someone, of our student, of people practicing, is how maybe for some of them, for the first time, they get to connect their mind with the physical body. And the stressful life we can live tends to have a reaction on the physical body. And here is acknowledging it and understand how you can release it. So this is a major thing. Now, also, the way we start classes in general is like, for me, I will just talk for myself, because everyone coming different of schools of yoga and different techniques is starting with the warm-up, of course, where you have all rotational movement, which allows the body to release, yes, toxins, but also the stress which is lodged in the body. So one of the major things that happen straight away, your first class in yoga, is to allow the energy to flow throughout the whole body. So by releasing these toxins in the joint with the warm-up, and then allowing the energy to flow. So for someone who just starts and finally get to connect, where is the stress lodged? Where are the emotions lodged? And to allow the physical body to release it with movement and breath, as we spoke about. It's
Angelique,
an amazing.
You flowed so much.
So,
I'm just going to stop you for a second, because you've given us so much gold. I got to summarize a bit so we can take something away from this. What I heard you say, so correct me if I'm wrong. So you spoke about the aspect of obviously the mind working through this process, which brings automatically the ability to work on two key aspects, which is working and balancing your stress, reducing your stress, and balancing emotions too. You mentioned emotions as well. Those are two key things that I heard you say, and I wanted to re-emphasize them because it's really important. You spoke about how by using your breath throughout your body, you can start to see where the toxins are built up. This is what I heard you say. So it's really amazing, the mind-body connection that I'm hearing that takes place.
Absolutely, Rajesh. Also, Rajiv, also what's happening is, what is the stress is either we too much in the past thinking, oh, I should have done that, or being upset about something that's happened, or anxiety going forward. And yoga really keeps us in the present. So talking about mind and emotion, doing the postures with the breathing keeps us very much in the present. And that connection is so powerful and so necessary nowadays.
I love that.
As humans who are tend to go too much in the highs, in the emotions, the stress, the mind also playing tricks, it's good to go back and recenter, reunite and communicate with the physical body.
I keep on, every time I keep on saying I love that, I'm taking mental notes in my head, and I want to re-emphasize what I heard. I heard you say, being here in the moment, because that's so true. So I will tell you, we shouldn't discount that, right, Payal? I mean, being in the moment. I know there's a whole mindfulness journey as well that goes with being in the moment, but it's amazing that she said that, right? You would think that as you're doing a physical exercise, yeah, you'll release some stress. Okay, you can work on emotions, but the truth of the matter is, by making it, I don't want to say making it so difficult, because I don't think it's difficult for you guys, okay? But for some of us who are doing it for the first time, our focus is so much on getting the pose right. It forces you to be in the moment.
Wow.
You can't be anywhere else.
Yeah.
Payal, tell me about that.
I actually want to highlight what she said in terms of the body keeps a score. There's even a book called The Body Keeps a Score.
Body keeps the score. Okay.
So, your body and mind, because from a yoga perspective, your body and mind are not separate, right? Even though I said that the body and the mind are connected by the breath, they're all the same. The body keeps a score. So if you're anyone like any of us, we've had stresses, we've had traumas, we've had we've had a whole 30, 40, whatever, 50 years behind us, right? So there's so much that we've stored, and I think when you start working with the physical body, it's a great opportunity to, like you said, release all of that, identify it, release all of that, and essentially, yes, meditation is the goal. And once you're able to work through that, it prepares your body to meditate, right? A lot of people are not even able to meditate, right? I can't sit or whatever, you're distracted or whatever, right?
Right.
I think yoga also helps you prepare your body, let go of a lot of things, a lot of toxins, whether these are physical issues, because a lot of physical issues are manifestations of emotional issues, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
It helps you work from the physical level, and the breath helps you work from a mental and emotional level, so that then you're finally able to sit and meditate, right?
Which is really funny, Angelique, because when I started meditating, when I had to cross my legs and sit on the floor and keep my spine straight, initially, when I started meditating the first time, I'll be honest, it was hard to keep my back straight and keep my legs folded for too long. I would feel the stretch of my legs, and it starts to feel uncomfortable. And Payal, I do see that. I do understand what you're saying. So what you're in essence saying is, when you do yoga and as you bring that into your life and you start stretching your body more and you're more aware of it, of course, you're working on, like you said, the emotions, the mind-body connection. But at the same time, I love that angle. I never thought of it that way. You're preparing yourself to be more receptive because you're also breathing consciously. You're preparing yourself to meditate. Wow. Okay. That's a good one. That's a note I'm going to write as well. Payal, I want to ask you a question. Sticking to this topic a little. We've heard about people with chronic pains, right? So say back injuries, knee pains. Is there specific poses, asanas that we use, that you use or you guide your clients through when they have some injuries?
So it depends, because these are cases you have to take, for every person it's different. Yes, there are some specific postures that would help someone who has back pain or someone who has scoliosis or something like that. Then you have certain things that would help. So it's very specific to the problem at hand. That being said, because yoga is such a powerful technology, I'd say, I have an engineering background, so let's call it technology.
You just brought it to the 21st century, right? Technology.
Yeah, right? It works. Even though you think you're working on your knee, you're working on a lot of other things as well, right?
Right.
So it's not only healing from a physical perspective, if it's a physical issue or your gut health or any of that, but it's also then healing your mind, which is then going to help facilitate the physical healing.
Okay. Excellent.
Of back pain or knee pain.
Can I
jump in, Angelique?
Yes, can I add something just came to mind as well. Something I've noticed very often in terms of yoga and healing in general, it's of course, it depends on a certain posture, but it also depends very much on the person's frame of mind
Okay.
and readiness to heal. There's
Ah.
always something to keep in mind as well. There's often a second gain into a pain. And are we ready? Are they ready to heal? Now, certain even yoga posture might bring up a pain to the surface, and it's up to you to give in into fear and to stop there. And that's okay. There's no judgment there, each at their own level.
Okay.
And that's what life is about. It's so interesting. It's about that as well. Or will you choose to trust that your body is doing the best for you and go beyond it? I'm not saying to do painful postures. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a pain that elevates, and then before it poof, it goes. So you have to go through that sometimes. And this is part also of what we could call also the spiritual journey into yoga. So that
I love
healing
that.
part as well.
Can I ask you, Angelique, I want to process the information because there's actually 3 things again that you threw my way. And like I said, I'm like a child here because as I'm getting information, I'm trying to break it down for me to understand and everyone who's part of the group. I know there's Steve also sitting there waiting to jump on later on. But here's a question. What I heard you say is, and I think that's so vital, is receptivity. So are you receptive to, to trying, the particular pose that is going to help you work through your pain? One is one of the things I heard. 2 is it also helps you discover other pains maybe you were not aware of, is what I heard you also say somehow. So while you're doing yoga and you start to find other areas that are uncomfortable. And I did hear this before as well, and I did experience it as well in the past where, you go forward, you'll do the thing, and you do it slowly. So every time you progress a little more. And as you do, you start feeling a little better and more, it starts to give more relief, in fact, for those troubling areas.
Absolutely.
I do think what Angelique refers to also is, I think what she's also referring to is sometimes when you're practicing, so when you're, say, working with someone who's had any kind of trauma or anything, then those underlying flows can come up. So maybe the back issue is not the back issue, but it's something else underlying it, right? So I think what she's talking about is being sensitive to what else comes up during the practice. And that's why I find it very valuable that after 15 years, you can still do a pose and it's still new, because there's always something more. You always approach it with the beginner's mind. Every posture, every day, you approach it with a beginner's mind because there's always something new that may come up.
Wow.
And also, you don't know what the body is ready to release, to unleash in terms of emotion as well. You're opening a door for the body to finally let go of something. So are you ready for it or not? So
what I'm almost hearing, which is, for me, this is the first time to see it this way, is when you describe to me that every time you do it, your body is, telling you something different. It's because as we live our day-to-day life, so many different things are hitting us, right? Our life keeps on changing every day. So you could have a different mindset tomorrow than today, based on the day you have.
The body is not static. The body is changing every day as well. It's
exactly.
Not a thing, right? The body that existed 5 days ago actually doesn't exist.
Right. So what I'm saying is, it's so cool that some asana you say asana for the stance, right? For the positions, right? Is that what you say? Or
posture, asana.
For the postures, yeah. So when you a certain posture that you might have worked today that felt really good, tomorrow could be one that starts to reveal other things and says, okay, there's something here for you to work on.
And there's something that you might be able to do today, and 2 years down the line, you can't do it. And I think it also helps you detach, right? There is healthy association with the body, which Angelique was talking about, that, sometimes you're so much in your head that you're not living below the neck, right? So there is healthy association, but there is also over association, right? Sometimes. And I think it gives you that balance of staying connected but not over identifying with the physical, right? That's when we enter into eating disorders or something like that. So it gives you that balance.
So now that you spoke about eating disorders, I read somewhere something to do with, yoga is a school of thought. It's a school of, it's actually a school of more than just the physical body. There's so much that plays with it. It actually helps you even reprogram the way you think, in ways. So if you have these kind of situations where, say, food disorders, and I believe that there is ways you can work with yoga to help you with stuff like this as well. Isn't that true?
That's where I started my journey. Like, this is probably the first time I'm on air, but at 17, well, that was like the teen area, and I was lucky enough, or grateful. I mean, I'm grateful that I entered yoga at the same time. So that's really a tool that helped me heal, even though it was a short period. But because, and then you don't know what's working, right? How it just works, right? Even if you don't know how it works, it works.
I like that.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question, both of you? I'm a father. I got 2 boys, right? Now, 2 boys, right? They don't want to sit still. They always jump around. And Angelique, you worked with one of them. But often I have this conversation with other fathers. We play basketball with our kids. We do all these, physical sports. But I would like to try, and I know we did one class with Angelique, and Raul still loved it, But I would love for my kids, they're young. I mean, they're 8 and 6 now. But, I think it's such a beautiful tool for them to know their body, be able to know their muscles and stretch them properly, breathe upright. So,
and be comfortable in their body, right? I think.
Right. So you girls recommend, obviously, yoga for kids, right? Is there a particular routine for kids that you guys recommend for parents who want to bring them to you guys or start yoga for kids?
Yes, sure. Shall I tell you a little bit about those amazing classes with the kids? So for sure, even boys, you know what? They have so much energy, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
The great part about doing yoga with children, personally, the way I like to do it, is making sure that they are being proactive and using their creativity and imagination. This is a great thing to bring into it. So it brings lots of fun, and at the same time, they are even more curious about the different postures and asanas, as Payal was saying earlier. So being proactive, it means that they will go and start, and through guiding them through the story, we meet postures, or we rename certain postures. They can find different names for it. So really, it's
So I think we lost Angelique, but what I heard her say, Payal, and I want to also invite Steve on. Steve, so Soumya, while you get Steven on to say hi to us, I was going to say that what I heard her say is that you get them proactive. So Angelique, you're back. Awesome. What you were saying is that you try to make it proactive for them so that they engage with it.
Yes.
Yeah?
Exactly. So I don't know where it cut, but basically it's engaging their imagination as well. And for them to discuss, for example, imagining going through a destination. Let's say, today we're going through the desert. What do you see? I see dunes. Okay, so we create postures like that looks like dunes.
Yeah.
I don't know, we were cut, I think. At the end of the day, yoga was very much...
losing her.
I don't know if I'm on. Can you hear me?
So yeah, we're kind of hearing you, but we're losing your video a bit. So it's getting stuck. But
are we back on?
Payal, do you want to pick it up from here so that
the image is frozen?
Yeah, I think you're frozen, Angelique. So while you figure that out, let's get Payal to jump in.
I think with kids, I mean, in my experience, they just. I'm not a parent, but I have a nephew, and I think they pick up very easily but they kids learn what they see. Kids don't always learn what you tell them. So you
Right.
have to model it for them to learn, right? They have to see, okay, they have to find that as a normal. They have to see their parents do it or their friends do it. So I think it's just about modeling and living it and letting them learn through that by seeing, by feeling. And that applies to everyone, right? Like you have to meet whoever it is. It is accessible to everyone today, right? Whether you're a stressed out professional or a leader or a child or a mother, whoever, it's accessible to everyone. But I think it's finding an entry point or meeting the person where they are.
And so regardless of whether it's an adult or a kid, meet them where they are. And then Angelique, can you hear us now?
And meet yourself where you are, right?
And meet yourself where you are. So I think we've kind of got Angelique trying to figure out it technically, and we got Steve here. Steve, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
So tell me you're learning some new things about yoga and meditation.
I definitely am, because I'm the kind of guy that runs from yoga. While I love the idea of the body, the mind, and the soul, those three things are connected. And for true health, we have to have those be working and fit and whatnot. But I'll be honest, I grew up with an image of yoga of a bunch of attractive, nimble women doing these different poses that I could never see myself ever doing.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, that's not for me. I'm going to go do something else.
Well, Steve, it's funny you say that, because, we now around the world, more and more people are picking it up. And as Payal and Angelique have shown, there's so many health benefits that come with it, which, from what I've heard, and Payal will probably add to this, is, you can work on your blood pressure, diabetes, there's this chronic injuries that you can work on. And, we work with retreats where we have, all types of people, men, different fitness levels. And there's such an amazing take, because apart from just the poses, there's so much breath work. There's so many different techniques that come with it. And
So
I must tell you, it's the most refreshing thing that we've experienced. Payal, jump in. Hi, Angelique. Welcome back.
Just to add to Steve's concern about the nimble women, it's funny that yoga actually started with men, right? If you go back into the olden days, it was something that was initially only for men or started by men, right? Like if you see the olden teachers, and then somehow women picked it up better along the way. So I guess that's just how the perspective had become over the years. But that being said, and adding to what Rajiv said, right? Today, yoga therapy by itself is huge, whether it's diabetes, blood pressure, name it. And it is a tool that can be used. And now, even especially with what we are going through in the world, the mental health pandemic as well, right? I think it's like I said, it's a technology applicable to various scenarios and open to everyone, no matter wherever you come from.
Even an old klutzy guy like me.
Whatever stage of life you're at.
Steve, you're young. You're still young. You're 21, buddy. So I want to take a second before we continue our conversation to quickly summarize a few key points that have popped up today. Because, like I said, both of these amazing people have been a big influence on, yoga for me as well. And, I've seen the grace that Angelique works when she works with little kids. I've seen it. My son loved it, Angelique, right? So, and I want him to do more of it. I want him to learn how to breathe more and be more natural with his body when he stretches, and and Payal, I know that you do a lot of corporate work. You do amazing meditations. I cannot wait to get you on the meditations that we're going to be doing together. So, but I want to summarize some of the things that we've discussed today. The fact that there is a mind-body connection, the fact that yoga does help, identify stress points in your body. It helps you, figure out how your emotional body, you touch base with the emotional body. It also talks about, being receptive and finding parts of your, I love the way you said it when you both explained it carefully. You said, find the problems you know and the problems you have that you don't know you have, right? So I like that. That's a key one for me. So that's important. And I love, Steve, your contribution just by that one statement is that it's applicable to every one of us, including kids. It's something we can put into our life, and it's much more than just the pose. There's so much more that goes to it. And in the words of Payal, in today's modern world, it's a technology, right? I mean, you can actually look at it like the different aspects of what yoga can bring. So I know that there is so many benefits that yoga does offer. And it's like, I remember one of you had told me earlier, we've just opened up. It's just the beginning. There's so much more. It's unending, right? So while we continue this conversation, I quickly want to say thank you to all our Facebook viewers. I know there's been some questions. We'll try to get both Payal and Angelique to answer these questions. So there will be some replies on the posts. But from us to all of you out there, thank you so much. We'll say bye to you guys for now. If you guys want to quickly say bye, and then we'll continue the conversation.